Bem-vindos a mais uma entrevista da área da Ciência das Religiões, Conversas em Religião. Nós hoje temos como convidada a Michal, do Kabbalah Center de Londres. Michal, welcome to our country, to Portugal.
Thank you.
I will start to make a simple question, that is, what is Kabbalah?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having us. It's very exciting and we really appreciate it. What is Kabbalah? Kabbalah, actually, it's a word that is coming from the Hebrew language, from the Aramaic. And the meaning of the word Kabbalah is to receive. And Kabbalah actually teaching us on a very basic level how to receive more in our life, how to elevate our consciousness, and how actually to get into our potential. As a wisdom, it's a wisdom that talks about the laws of the universe, laws of cause and effect. And if we really want to understand how everything around us works, which is not in a random way, this is what Kabbalah is about, in a very short...
In the Middle Ages, when we start reading about Kabbalah and Kabbalists, it was a practice that were restricted to had some conditionings, like only man married, after 40 years he can start to practice
Right.
Or studying the Kabbalah. What has changed nowadays so you can have these teachings open to everyone?
It's a great question. First of all, we need to see the development of Kabbalah along the history. Because the first Kabbalist book was the Book of Adam. Then it moved to the Book of Formation from Abraham, the patriarch. Then the next stage that we see is the Book of Splendor, which is the Book of the Zohar. Then we're going to Rabbi Isaac Luria, which we know as the writings of the Ari. Then to the Kabbalist of the last generation, which is Rabbi Ashlag, which is the founder of the Kabbalah Center. So if we go, first of all, and we check all those writings and all this knowledge, we can see that from generation to generation, it's coming lower and lower and lower to a way that we can understand it. And we can actually study from it. Because it goes with the evolution and with the level of the consciousness of the people. Until not very late, it was known that actually only if you are 40 years old and also with very certain restrictions, you can study Kabbalah. But what happened in the last 40 years actually has to do with the founders of the Kabbalah Center, which is Karen Berg and Rabbi Berg. And you want the story? You want to really understand how it happens? Okay.
Yes, please.
So the story goes like that. Rabbi Berg is coming from a very orthodox background. And he was meeting his teacher, which is Rabbi Breinman, which is the student of Rabbi Ashlag. Rabbi Ashlag, we know Rabbi Ashlag from the commentary to the Zohar, to the Book of Splendor, with all the 10 luminous emanation wisdom and studies that we have today in a way that we can actually access and understand. So when Rabbi Berg met Karen Berg, which Karen is coming completely from a non-scholar, from a different background, an open-minded woman, not religious, not any connection to Kabbalah. And they found their way together. This is another story by itself. But when they got married, so the Rav, Rabbi Berg, started to teach Karen. First, they were teaching, they were studying astrology from the writings of the Ari, Rabbi Isaac Luria. And then Karen told the Rav, listen, if I can understand and can study this wisdom, and if I see that this wisdom can actually help other people in the world to open their mind, to change their life, let's open the doors to everybody. So Rabbi Berg told Karen, are you nuts? They will kill us. So you know what the answer was? So Karen told him, you know what? So at least we will know that we did something in this world. At least it's something meaningful. And that was the first time in 1971 that the doors were open. Now, if you go to the Book of the Zohar, the Book of Splendor, it says in the Zohar that every child can study the Zohar, can study Kabbalah. So actually, You understand my...
Yes.
So actually, according to the writings of Kabbalah, to the wisdom, to the sources, it was never forbidden. Never. Just on a certain stage, it was concealed. And it wasn't allowed to use, but I don't think from a spiritual way or from a spiritual reason, but political reason.
Of course.
So
It's like the fruits of the tree are now
ready,
and everyone can reach them nowadays.
Yeah. Also, the situation in the world is, we are in the sixth millennia. And according to the Kabbalah, this is the time of Messiah. This is the time of the end of correction. And this is the time of knowledge. This is the age of Aquarius. Mm-hmm. And it was known already that this will be the age that all the channels will be open for spirituality. And that's why it's so out there, and people are seeking and looking for purpose. For purpose, for wisdom, for deeper understanding. What do we do here? What's the purpose of our life? This is what brought me to Kabbalah, for example.
So the Kabbalah assumes the coming of the Messiah, as the Jewish tradition does.
But you need to understand. First of all, no, it's Messiah in Kabbalah. It's a consciousness. It's not a man.
Oh, okay.
It's not somebody on a donkey.
Okay.
Messiah, it's the same letters of the word ismach, happiness. Messiah, it's when humanity will come to a place of joy, fulfillment, happiness.
A kind of celestial Jerusalem. Can you think it like that?
It's more, on a very basic level, day to day thing.
But if the Kabbalah is an individual path, if the process of transformation is something that only individuals can achieve on his own, that openness or what you call this new era, this Aquarius era, we assume it's a collective awareness, of collective awareness.
Right.
Doesn't these two paths collide?
The opposite. It completes each other. Because we need to understand, all the souls, according to the Kabbalah and to creation, the entire souls here are coming from one soul. This is like how Kabbalah explains creation. And actually, each one of us depend on the other. Oh, that's what we teach. And it's the basics of the basics rules of unity. So when I transform, when you transform, when everybody here transform, we create a critical mass. This critical mass will affect the universe.
Oh, okay. Isaac Luria has said that we come into this life several times. So we believe in metempsychosis.
Reincarnation.
In reincarnation, and the process of ratification, like the tikkun, that we must
correction that we need to go through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't you find some parallel between this idea and the Oriental notion of karma, and later on with the spirit doctrine of Allan Kardec, for instance? Doesn't this fit in a major background, so it's not something that is unique to the Kabbalah teachings?
No, but you need to understand that Kabbalah, it's a universal wisdom. So if you want to title it under Judaism or Christianity or Buddhism, you're making a big mistake.
Okay.
Because it's a universal spiritual laws. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So everyone completes everybody. This wisdom, with that, the Kabbalah is the origin of all spiritual wisdoms that we have. So whatever it is that you practice, it can just support you and make whatever it is that you do more powerful and more intense. It doesn't contradict, the opposite. It just comes to put more light and to help you to go your way, in your path. It's not my path or the other people's path. You understand?
I see, yes, of course. And in that sense, there is no contradiction in being Catholic, Jew, Buddhist, and being at the same time
and being a Kabbalist.
A Kabbalist.
Yeah. If you will see, you will look at our crowd, our students, from all over, all color, all belief, all, atheist. Because it's not about one God or one belief, and it's certainly not about to do or not to do.
What are the methodologies, the method that Kabbalah teaches, so every one of us can be a better one, to achieve a more perfect being? What are the teachings? What should we do to be better persons?
It's a good question. When they came to, you're familiar with who was Hillel, the old wise man Hillel?
A bit, not.
He's a great Kabbalist. So there's a story about him that one day they came to him running, and one of the students, and he asked him, please, teacher, tell me the whole Torah, the whole wisdom, while you're standing on one leg, on one foot. And he told him, love thy neighbor as yourself. So if you really want to understand what is Kabbalah and what it's unity, it's dignity, and really to have this respect and love between people. So everything that we practice is to bring us to this place.
In the Middle Ages, the practice of the Kabbalah follow the tradition of Midrash. So you have commentaries on the Torah and hermeneutical and exegesis of the sacred texts. Do you still have that practice?
We do not. Basically, the main book of Kabbalah is the book of the Zohar, the book of Splendor, which is actually deciphering the Torah, which is the codes of the universe. Along the way, through the generation, there were different studies actually to help the people to apply, or to help, because if you look at it as it is, it's a very profound and it's a very elevated wisdom that to practice it is it's very difficult. So along the generation, different studies and different commentaries came to help people to communicate and to use this wisdom in a better way, because we change, evolution, generation, everything changed, and we need to apply it to what we have in our days. So, does it answer your question?
Yes. Yes. Following in the same sense, the Kabbalists of the Middle Ages, like Abraham Abulafia, and later on the Hasidic movement,
the Baal Shem Tov.
Baal Shem Tov, they had the idea of being himself like the Messiahs. What do you think of someone that calls himself a Messiah, based on his knowledge? How can Kabbalah or someone that nowadays studies Kabbalah make a reading of these facts, of these historical facts, from people, from great teachers of the Kabbalah itself?
I can tell you for the Hasidic movement, which is the Baal Shem Tov, that according to my knowledge, that what he did, it's very strange for me what you say, because actually what he did is that he took all this wisdom, which was very elevated, and he brought it to the people, to the common people, in a way of songs and stories, in a simple way that they can make their own connection with God, light, call it whatever you want. So actually, he did the opposite. He didn't put himself as something unique or Messiah. He just brought something else with the thought of the people to help them, the people that not necessarily could read and write. So how can they connect? This wisdom is available, it's beautiful, but for who? Only for certain people? The opposite. Let's bring it to everybody. And actually, that was the first time that it was open. But he had people that went against him. They didn't like him. But every time that there's a revelation of light, there must be like an opponent on the other side. So I think you will find it everywhere. You will find it also in
Politics.
Politics, you will find it everywhere.
Yes.
Whenever there is revelation of light, it must come with darkness.
Yes, it's the balance.
It's the balance, exactly.
When we talk about Luria a while ago, Luria is only one cosmogony of the creation, but he was not the only one to propose one. So, is like in Christianity, we have a lot of Christianities. We have the Catholic Church, the Protestants, the Evangelic. In Judaism, we also have many Judaisms. Can you speak of other movements, of other interpretation of what is Kabbalah nowadays, in these days?
I can talk about the Kabbalah Center, which I am representing. I cannot talk about somebody else.
Okay, but
Okay.
So you do not consider other movements?
No, no, it's not true. You know why? Because I know that there are many other organizations that teach Kabbalah. And everyone used different method. What the Kabbalah Center did, what Rabbi Berg and Karen Berg did actually, is that they took this wisdom, they took the language of the branches, Sfat HaAnafim, which this is the Kabbalistic language, which was very difficult to understand and to use, and they created a language, a Kabbalistic language that you and me can actually practice and understand. Okay, so basically that's what they did. Now, if another person is teaching Kabbalah and he's helping people to transform and change and have a better life, it's good.
It's the point.
Why not? Go ahead, So the Zohar is the Zohar. Just the method is different. And I'll tell you, before I came to, I'm a student and a teacher of Kabbalah in the last 13 years. Before I met the Kabbalah Center, I went to other places. And no names, it doesn't matter, but I couldn't understand. And when I came to the Kabbalah Center through the classes, the wisdom is deep and it's profound. It's not the point. We're not coming and making things simple, We're not taking things out of content. But we do help people to use it. Because if I'm going to a class which is, wow, those classes that you leave the class, wow, it was amazing. Really, what did you study? No idea. Could you apply it tomorrow? No. So what's the use of it? Just the information, that's just the intellectual. So, but you can find yourself in the Kabbalah Center after many years of study. Go deeper and deeper, read from different types of text and deepen your study. But it's not about it. It's not about being an intellectual a Kabbalist. Because a Kabbalist is a person that lives his life for humanity. So if you think that you will find yourself in a room, study, and elevating, it's okay. You will become wise. But if you didn't make an impact, so...
In the Zohar, we can read a passage several times that refer to the problem of evil. And in some places the Zohar, we can read that blessed be God because he created the evil. Because only with the evil we can ascend to the throne.
Right.
So it's like we have to have some friction so we can be better persons. How do you fit this knowledge, this profound knowledge in my seeing, in the teachings of the Kabbalah?
Actually, we teach it in the very first class. When we teach creation, we teach that. You want me to go into details?
Yes, please.
Give you a quick course of Kabbalah. There's a story about a king and a son, and that the king wanted to test his son. So one of the things that he told him in advance is, you will have the kingdom if you will keep your purity until a certain point. So he sent him a prostitute to seduce him. So it's a weird story, right, to be written in the holy Zohar. But the Zohar explained that actually the king is like the light, it's like God. And the son is like us, each one of us. And actually, the only way that we can apply restriction is if we have someone to resist to. If there's no resistance, you cannot apply restriction, and then there's no free choice. Because according to creation, we came here actually to choose to choose to connect back to the light and to choose not to have bread of shame, meaning not to receive things into my life without earning. So because of that, the opponent, the evil, the darkness, whatever you will call it, was created. So it can be like a resistor, like something that we can apply our free choice, that we choose to do restriction, not to go with it, and to connect.
To exercise free will.
Exactly. Because otherwise it's a solved game.
Yes. It's a game without shadows and lights.
Yeah,
it's
so
a flat way.
Like you go to the court and there's no team and you just score the balls and you take the trophy. That's it.
Let me ask you something that I think most of our listeners will have to have that question is: can you consider Kabbalah as a religion?
No.
So you have no dogmas. There are no dogmatic questions. In Kabbalah, you can exercise your questioning on everything, being earthly or heavenly things.
Everything. I started with the fact that Kabbalah is wisdom. It's not a religion, and that's why everybody can have access to it. Kabbalah is from before creation. Kabbalah exists in the world, even though we know the book of Splendor that was found out 2,000 years ago. But the studies of Kabbalah, if you go to creation and all the emanation, the 10 luminous emanation, so you can actually study that everything potentially, the energy, the consciousness, was existed before creation, before religious. When did religious came to the story? Religion,
so
exactly.
There is no beginning. There is no the creation. There has no starting. Has no beginning.
There is. According to Kabbalah, there is one axiom. Okay, and this is the only axiom. All the rest you can question. Beside that, and the study of Kabbalah starts with the fact that at the very beginning there was only light. Before space, before time, before movement, there was light. And the way that Kabbalah explains light is any type of fulfillment. What's the one thing that you want in your life, that you would love to have in your life?
Allegorically is light. You can call it like that.
No, but
because light has all the qualities that.
But one thing, personal thing.
Happiness, I
Happiness.
think, is what everyone searches in life.
Happiness, peace, family, relationships, security, sustenance, name it. Any type of fulfillment is what Kabbalah will explain as light. So we said at the beginning there was only light, and this is the first axiom. Now what happened? What's the essence of the light? The essence of the light is to share, is to give, right? If I have something, I have happiness. Okay, I have a basket of happiness. What should I do with it? Like, it's not for me. I want to give it away. There was nobody to give it to. Okay? So the first thing that was created, according to Kabbalah, to the Kabbalists, is a vessel to hold this fulfillment. Okay? A vessel to hold this fulfillment. So the essence of the light was sharing and giving. The essence of the vessel was receiving. It's like a cup and water, a pitcher and a cup of water, and one is just receiving, one is just giving. What happened? The vessel received light. On the way, it received the DNA of the light, right? Yes. Because eventually, a spark, it says in the writings, like it was just a tiny spark of the DNA of the light, which is sharing. So what the vessel told the light is, listen, I want also to share. I don't want just to receive. I want to share as well. So what did the light do? Because the essence of the light is to give. He went away. Because if you want now to start to earn your fulfillment and to receive in order to share back, okay, this is the situation that was created, I'll let you do that. So we explain in the process of creation that actually what happened was that the vessel didn't want just to receive, he wanted to earn. He wanted to receive and to share back, to become like the light. So the light disappeared. And the vessel felt empty. You know, imagine like a huge balloon. You have today everything that you want. You have happiness, you have money, and in 1 minute, I'm taking it from you, which actually happens to people today, unfortunately. One day you have everything, and the other, nothing is certain anymore. But everything, the light disappeared. And what happened, it was a huge, huge darkness. The Kabbalists call it tzimtzum. I don't know if you've...
Yes,
this is the tzimtzum.
Like the Big Bang.
Not yet the Big Bang. The Big Bang will happen in a minute. First of all, the light shrink itself to one point, and the vessel remained empty. He couldn't take the emptiness. He asked the light to come back. The problem is that the vessel didn't go through the transformation yet. He didn't go through the process. So the Kabbalists explain when the light came back, it came back with full force. But the capacity was not enough to hold it, and it exploded. That's the Big Bang. So everybody knows to explain Big Bang and on. But actually what brought to the Big Bang, to evolution, to the creation, to time, to space, to everything that we have today, is this desire of the vessel, which is you, it's me, like it's all of us. Because we all sparks of soul, of the one soul that was existed in the endless. And the desire was to earn what I receive and to share back, to be like the light. So one of the biggest things that we need to learn here, and this is what we teach, is how to share. Because we totally forgot how to do that. We are so consumed and so afraid with what will happen to me and what will be with my life tomorrow that I'm like that. Everybody became like so close and so protected that we forgot about everybody around us. So two things that we need to learn. First is that everything that we receive in life, we need to earn it and we need to work for it. And the second thing is how to share and how to give back.
One of the main icons or images that when we speak about Kabbalah comes to our mind is the Tree of Life. I know that it's not an easy question, or is not easy to speak about it, because there are many interpretations and many ways to deal with it in terms of absorbing the knowledge that it contains. In the Kabbalah Center, do you have any kind of contemplative method or approach to deciphering or understanding the graphical representation of the Tree of Life? That is,
we do. Our teachings are based on Rabbi Ashlag and Rabbi Isaac Luria.
Okay.
Yeah, those are, because actually Rabbi Ashlag is you asked me before about reincarnation. Is a reincarnation of Rabbi Isaac Luria, and he received all the wisdom and brought it even more lower to a place that we can understand it more. So our sources are Rabbi Isaac Luria and then Rabbi Ashlag. So we teach from there.
We know that Isaac Luria didn't write anything. It was Rein Vital that wrote his books. Do you think that the teachings, without the Kabbalah Center in a way deciphers the books of Luria to make them, that knowledge, accessible to the common people?
Right.
Don't you think that at a certain level of his studying process, the student shouldn't himself read the original and the ancient texts?
No, but it goes together, of course. It's together. So all of our students, they have the writings of the Ari, they have the writings of Rabbi Ashlag, and with the assistance of the teacher, they can approach it. But of course, it's with the original text. It's only with the original text.
Is the basis remained the...
Of course. Nothing was invented. You need to understand, nothing was invented. It's like, electricity. When did we first see electricity?
With Tesla or Edison.
Right. Was it exist before?
That we know, I think not.
How come? There's nothing new under the sun.
Yes, they are ideas and theories that.
So it was existing, potentially.
Yes, of course.
We know that everything starts with a thought, right? And consciousness is everything. This is the basic, by the way, of Kabbalah. To understand that consciousness is everything.
So, like creating electricity is not creating electricity, it's
It was
transforming
the revelation.
and
It
transforming
came-
the properties that make possible to materialize electricity.
Exactly, exactly. So same goes with.
Sorry to interrupt you. So, you believe in conditions a priori, the conditions that exist in a virtual plane, that they are not physical. All we have to do is to materialize them through our
reveal them.
actions and our
Exactly,
thoughts.
exactly.
That is quantum physics. It's the approach that quantum physics are made to the universe.
Right. But I'm sorry, I think it's dust. But you know that science goes together with Kabbalah. Again, it doesn't contradict. The opposite. It's how do you say it? I have blackout to this word. Completing each other. Totally. It's we have a book by Rabbi Berg, Nano, which is all about that. Which, by the way, I brought you as a gift.
Oh, thank you.
So right, we have it. So please read it, and I think you will be fascinated to see how close it is, how similar it is.
So we can assume that even this new approach of the science to the universe is part of this new times, this new era, that knowledge is becoming more and more accessible to people.
Yeah, but also something very interesting that the science is coming to recognize is to the illusion of this world, the illusion of the five senses. And not everything only can be interpreted by what we see, feel, or understand. And this is beautiful. We show in one of our classes the basic of when we teach about creation, that actually they say that they understand Big Bang, but they don't understand what happened before. And probably it has to do with the consciousness, not with something that they can measure. And so I think more and more there's an opening to receive this knowledge. And maybe that's why actually it's so open and so out there to everybody, because it's time.
Okay. Michal, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having us. And,